With a divine twist and one hell of an ending, the final season of Lucifer delivers an incredibly emotional send-off for all our favourite characters. Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers, I'm Jan, and in this video we're taking a deep dive into the finale to uncover and explain all the clues and details you might have missed. Plus we'll discuss whether a season 7 or spin-off could still be possible. Spoilers ahead of course, so take care. Although Lucy fought a battle to be the new god, in season 6 he finds himself full of doubts about whether he's really the right angel for the job. And by the end he realises his true calling isn't to rule on high, but to help redeem the souls of the damned below.
When he said hell no longer needs a keeper, it doesn't. It needs a healer.
After all, who better to help those condemned to hell than Lucifer, who'd lived there for millennia in his own hell loop of sorts, believing it was his job to punish people. It wasn't until he went to LA and began therapy with Dr. Linda that he was able to slowly deal with his anger and self-loathing. It took him years to fully understand himself, and during that time he almost transformed entirely into a monstrous devil form at the end of season 4. His devil face, which was seen since the show began, was a crucial part of Lucy's sense of guilt and self-hatred, as God explained to his son.
Why did you choose that face? Deep down, that face is how you see yourself.
So when Lucifer sees his daughter Rory giving in to her anger and manifesting her own devil face against Lamech, he recognises it for what it is and begs her not to give in to those urges.
Killing him won't change what he's done, but it will change you. I know what it's like to be consumed by guilt, by anger and self-hatred.
As Rory later explains, Lucifer has a special gift that troubled people like her can relate to.
When I looked in your eyes, I knew you understood my anger and the guilt more than anyone else could.
And when Lucy, Chloe and Rory realised that it was his advice to Dan's ghost that helped him finally ascend to heaven, Chloe explains that helping those who are stuck within their own guilt-ridden hell loops could be Lucifer's true purpose.
You can help everyone. Every Dan down in hell who deserves another chance.
Lucy agrees and thinks he'll be able to do the job part-time, which does make some sense when you consider that time in hell moves differently, so he could be down there delivering hundreds or thousands of years of therapy and only be gone in Earth time for a few months. However, Rory explains that wouldn't be possible, because if Lucifer's there for her as a father as she grows up, she'll never become angry enough to time travel to the past and help him arrive at this moment of self-discovery that he could help rescue millions of condemned souls in hell.
We can't change anything, or he might never get that idea.
What Rory's describing is a type of time paradox, which you can pick apart if you start to think about it too much. So I suggest for pure enjoyment of the show, just to go along with it.
My advice? Don't overthink it.
In fact, this season 6 storyline with Lucy and Chloe's daughter Rory being crucial to his ultimate destiny fits nicely as one of the reasons he was so insistent on bringing Chloe back from heaven at the end of season 5.
It's not your time. You need to come back.
There were also some theories at the end of season 5 that Chloe getting stabbed in the stomach with a staff made from the Tree of Life would lead to her pregnancy, and given that, I like how Rory is framed in this shot with the Tree of Knowledge and the stained glass window to her side. Lucy and Chloe's final moments together on Earth as they ready themselves for him to go to hell will no doubt have been heartbreaking for Decastar fans, and even more so because this scene mirrors the first time they met in the pilot.
Lucifer Morningstar. Is that a stage name or something?
God-given, I'm afraid.
Lucifer Morningstar. Is that like a stage name or something?
God-given, I'm afraid.
And when they play Heart and Soul together, it's a tender callback to the first time they duetted with that song in season 1.
I think you're gonna miss my incredible musical prowess the most.
And Lucy also played Heart and Soul in the 3rd season episode Quintessential Decastar, as a way to remind Chloe of their time together before Pierce came along. And the Albanian field wench mention is also a cute shout out to the 1st season when Chloe woke up in Lucy's bed after getting drunk the night before.
You snore, by the way, like an Albanian field wench.
Fortunately though, the sweet part of the bittersweet ending promised by the showrunners is still to come. When decades later after Chloe dies, she goes to the afterlife and Amenadiel takes her to hell to reunite with Lucifer, proving they really are partners to the end.
Hello, detective.
I thought you could use a partner.
Lucy fans will surely love that they got to hear Lucifer call Chloe detective one final time, which neatly parallels the start of the season when Lucy called her by her name, and she replied,
Still not used to you calling me that.
That very last time he calls her detective is also a nice way of acknowledging that although Chloe gave up her police job at the end of season 5 so she could help Lucy in his godly duties, being a detective was still very much part of her DNA. And we saw that in the first episode of season 6, when Chloe just couldn't stop herself investigating the magician murder scene.
Once the detective, always the detective.
And remember, this Decastar reunion in Hell will be especially sweet for Lucifer, given that while decades have passed on Earth between Lucy leaving and Chloe's death, it's probably been hundreds of thousands, if not a few million years in Hell time for Lucifer. I love the fact that Lucifer's therapy room in Hell appears to be a replica of Dr. Linda's office, proving just how great her influence on him has been. And it's interesting that after Lucy counselled the good doctor in season 5 on how she could reconcile with her daughter, she told him this.
Awfully insightful of you, Lucifer. Maybe you should become a therapist.
On Lucifer's couch in Hell is Reese, Linda's ex-husband, whose Hell loop made up the season 3 episode Off the Record. Even now, Reese still can't break out of his loop, but Lucifer is there diligently advising him to confront his guilt head-on rather than avoiding it. And when Reese says he feels like a lost cause, Lucifer's reply sums up the show's key premise.
Because if the devil can be redeemed, then anyone can.
Now let's get into that final montage revealing how everyone else ended up at the close of the series. It begins in the Silver City with Amenadiel taking his place as Amenagod, which many Lucy fans suspected would happen, given his desire to help people and how well suited he seems for the position. After all, remember the advice about humanity he gave Lucy back in season 4.
Humans, Chloe, people are amazing. I'm only now just realizing how lucky that we are, that we actually get a chance to connect with them.
And then there were his wonderful words to Ella in season 5 about her feelings that she didn't fully deserve God's love.
You see, I think if God was standing right here, right now, in front of you, that he would tell you to take some of that faith that you have in him and put it in yourself.
And as it turns out, Amenadiel's words foreshadowed his rise to God status. Similar to his brother, Amenadiel also wants to reform his part of the cosmos and make heaven a better place.
I think every single angel should spend time here, walking among humans, just like I did, to get to really understand humanity.
He also agreed with Lucifer to take joint ownership of Lux, and in the montage, we see him gather his team of angels who will send to work at Lucy's club so they can mix with all types of humans. And rather than operating in the mysterious ways of their father who left his family to work out things by themselves, Amenagod plans to involve his angelic siblings in God's work and keep them informed.
Being God is what I truly desire.
With Amenadiel now firmly in charge of heaven, the closing montage shows Ella caressing her cross, her faith renewed as she senses the big guy has returned. In some ways, Ella underwent perhaps the most dramatic arc of all in the final season, as she finally discovered the truth about her celestial friends, something teased all the way back in the God Johnson episode of season 2.
Is it really so crazy? I mean, what if God was one of us?
Many Lucy fans were hoping Ella would find out the truth, especially as in season 5 she actually met God himself, who helped her through the darkness she was feeling at the time.
The darker the darkness, the brighter the light. And you, Miss Lopez, shine so very, very brightly. I can see it all the way from heaven.
Ella must have had a few suspicions before then, but God talking about seeing her from heaven and then disappearing mysteriously seems to have been the trigger for her secret investigation and conspiracy board in season 6. And by the time of May's and Eve's wedding, Ella's suspicions are all but confirmed as she sees Amenadiel talking to an invisible Dan, and Carol comments about the strange smell at the ceremony.
What'd you think? What, we were at some, hell monster wedding attended by decaying zombies?
At the after party, Ella can't take it anymore and blurts out she knows the truth.
I know that Lucifer is the actual devil, not the most method actor ever.
That's a reference to what she said to Lucifer when they first met in season 2 and he told her his name.
Are you
the devil?
A method actor?
What?
When Chloe confirms the truth to Ella, she's not shocked because she already believed in celestial beings, but she is angry with everyone for excluding her from the club. But by the time Lucifer says farewell in the next episode, Ella's now at peace thanks to her chat with Carol and understands why they never told her.
You don't have to know everything to have trust. Not when you know each other's hearts.
And given how many happy, geeky t-shirts we've seen Ella wear throughout the series, I can't think of a better way to signal that the Young Women's STEM Foundation that Lucy established for her is up and running than by showing her hand out those t-shirts. The montage next shows Chloe returning to the LAPD, part of the plan that she discussed with Amenadiel to be God's point person in the police department. Notice there's a time skip next so that when we come back to Chloe we can see she's been promoted and that she's taken the opportunity to promote Officer Harris to detective. Hopefully, given the show's theme of growth, Chloe's using the powers at her disposal now to change the system, along with colleagues like Harris. Amenadiel even pops by to check in on things, something that Harris seems to sense, as after all they had worked together. The montage also checks in on Dan, who, as so many of us expected, made it to heaven to be with his true love Charlotte Richards. And of course he gets to eat Pudding Plus, which as we know from season 3 is what Dan prefers.
Pudding Plus is my favorite, okay? Twice as much protein as all the other brands.
Some more fun details in this scene are the 40 whole years of being Dan Mug, referencing the time he was alive on Earth, and the fact that Charlotte's getting waffles for her heavenly treat is a callback to the waffle maker that Dan bought her in season 3 shortly before she was killed. In season 6, we learned that the lingering guilt holding Dan back from heaven was his belief that he wasn't a good enough role model to his daughter Trixie. When he goes to visit her in Lamech's body, he confesses these feelings. However, Trixie replies that he was the best dad ever.
But he made so many mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes. And my dad taught me that mistakes are important. We need them so that we can learn and do better next time.
This is again the big theme of the whole series, that there is always a path for anyone to redemption. And as Trixie tells Dan that she's proud of her dad, the guilt he feels washes away and a light calls him up to heaven. As the montage continues, we get to see Charlie celebrating his 2nd birthday, and as predicted, a set of wings pop out, proving he has celestial traits after all. Amenadiel gives a little punch in the air as he's clearly delighted, as many Lucy fans will also be. Charlie being an angel also resolves the plot point from season 4 about why Remiel sensed the birth of a new celestial on Earth. As to why Charlie's wings didn't show up until now, it's likely because as a newborn he was too young to self-actualize. If that's the case, it seems like Linda's attempt to raise the best child possible by giving baby Charlie access to an incredible range of classes from Japanese to art appreciation has paid off, helping him to develop and self-actualize at a very young age. The montage also catches us up with everyone's favourite demon, Maze, who turned down the opportunity to rule hell together with Eve, a theory I mentioned back in season 4. Instead, thanks to Linda's dinner table therapy, Maze explains that rather than torturing souls in hell, what she really wants to do is carry on as a bounty hunter on Earth.
It's so much better when they're still alive, you know, you can really feel the fear.
During that dinner table session, Maze tells Eve that she's her true hell, and so by the end we see they've found their bliss hunting down and punishing perps, something Eve also enjoys, as we saw how she relished doing that with Lucifer in season 4. Maze's farewell with Lucy was exceptionally emotional, and when she gives him her demon blade, it's especially significant because her knives have been an integral part of her since we met her in season 1.
No matter what, you will always have a piece of me.
In fact, that demon blade is likely her last one, as the other one was melted down at the end of season 5 to create the demon blade bullets that Chloe used in the celestial battle at the Olympic Stadium. The montage concludes with a phone call and news that baby Rory has been born, and Maze's excitement at the knife gift she's brought for the newly born babe reminds me of the scene when she was showing Trixie an assortment of weapons in season 4 and slipped her a blade on the way out.
Maze, you know she's not allowed to play with knives.
Relax, Dan. These knives aren't for Trixie. They're for a baby.
I thought the way the series wrapped up was really well done, and although it's been confirmed this really is the final season, it's nice to imagine that Lucifer and Chloe's story could continue in some form down in hell. They already both worked a case down there in season 6 when they investigated Jimmy Bonds' hell loop. It's unlikely we'll be getting a season 7 anytime soon, but other popular shows have been resurrected years later, and with the number of resurrections this series has already had, anything's possible. Would you like to see a season 7 or a spin-off show, and if so, what would you like to see in it? So what did you think of the final season of Lucifer? Comment with your thoughts and theories below, and if you enjoyed this video, a like and a share are hugely appreciated. Tap left to watch my next Lucifer video, or tap right for something else you're sure to like. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!